Hello everybody. Today's notes are going to look a little bit different. As you can see, I didn't have a PDF typed out copy version of these ones, so this is what we are working with here. Alright, so today we're going to be going over the rules for integer operations. So multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting positive and negative whole numbers and zero, if we remember the definition for the term integer. So first today we're going to be dealing with, we can't see that there, but this is addition. So when we are adding integers with the same sign, we're going to add together the two numbers and then keep whatever sign both of them have. So here for our first example, we've got 2 plus 5, that's going to equal 7. And then negative 2 plus negative 5, well, if we follow the rule up above, we add the integers there, so that's going to be 7, because 2 plus 5 is 7, but they're both negative, so we're going to keep that negative tacked on there. Alright, so a couple practice ones. We got 7 plus 13, well, that we know that's 20. Negative 8 plus negative 5, well, we're going to add the numbers together, so 13, and then keep whatever sign they both have, and that will be negative, so negative 13 is the answer for B. And then same thing again, we've got two negatives we're adding together, so 20 plus 15 is going to give us 35, and we keep that negative sign. Alright, so now we're going to worry about integers with different signs, so positives and negatives. So we are going to subtract. I know it sounds a little funny because we're doing addition here, but we're going to subtract those two numbers and then keep the sign of the integer that is the furthest from 0, or we can say keep the sign of the number with the bigger absolute value. Alright, so first example here, we've got 10 plus negative 8, so we are going to do 10 minus 8, which is 8, and the answer is positive since 10 has a bigger absolute value than negative 8. Then we've got negative 9 plus 5, which so we're going to follow the same rules again. We've got 9 minus 5 is going to give us 4, and the answer is negative because negative 9 has a bigger absolute value than 5 does. Continuing on, we've got 17 plus negative 17. So follow that same rule. We're going to go 17 minus 17 is 0. And the answer is, well, it's not positive or negative, it's just 0, right? Alright, so I'm going to get some practice setting these up. So we've got negative 10 plus 5, so we're going to do negative 10 minus 5 since the signs are different on them. And we get 5, and the answer is negative because negative 10 has that bigger absolute value than the positive 5 does. 7 plus negative 3, so we're going to subtract them. That's going to give us 4, and the answer is going to be, well, what has the bigger absolute value here? Well, 7 has a bigger absolute value than negative 3, so the answer will be positive. Negative 12 plus 12, well, 12 minus 12 is going to be 0, so the answer cannot be positive or negative because it's just 0. Next example, negative 4 plus 8. So we're going to just take away the smaller number from the bigger number always when you do this. So we're going to go 8 minus 4 excuse me, is going to equal 4. And the answer, I won't bother writing it out, it will be positive because 8 has a bigger absolute value than negative 4. And then finally, 2 plus negative 6, well, we've got 6 minus 2, which is also going to equal 4. But if we check here, negative 6 has a bigger absolute value than 2, right? So we're going to keep the negative here. -4 is our answer. All right, so now we're going to move on to subtraction. I know that part's hard to see there. So to subtract an integer, we are going to add its opposite. So what that means is we're just changing the symbol, changing the operation to add, and then whatever that second number is, turn it to its opposite. So, and then we're going to use our addition rules to continue with the rest of the problem. So 3 minus 12, well, that's going to be the same as 3 plus -12. And then using our integer rules above, subtract them off. 12 minus 3 will give us 9. And the answer, since -12 has a bigger absolute value, the answer will be negative. -8 minus -13. So they changed the operation, and then we're going to do the opposite of that one there. And then follow our addition rules because we have -8 plus 13. So 13 minus 8 is going to give us 5, and the answer will be positive because 13 has a bigger absolute value than -8, just like the rules above. All right, so we're going to keep the first number, change the operation, and take the opposite. So that's going to turn to 5 plus 4, which is just 9. And the answer is positive, obviously, because we added the same signed numbers. All right, and then finally here we're going to have 9 minus 9, so that is 9 plus -9. So the addition rule for different signs, we're going to go 9 minus 9, which is 0, and the answer will be 0, not positive or negative. Alrighty, so I'm going to go through these relatively quickly here. So 13 minus 7, because we're adding different signed numbers here, so that's going to give us 6, and -13 has the bigger absolute value, so the answer is negative. Keep, change the operation, and switch. So we've got 3 minus 2, which is 1, and the answer will be negative because bigger absolute value for the negative number. 8 minus -3 will turn to 8 plus 3, which is just 11, pretty easy there. -10 plus, take the opposite, which is going to be 10 minus 10, which is 0. So hopefully this is starting to get pretty easy. 25 minus 25, that one's pretty easy. I don't think we need to extend it out here. So we'll have 0. 16 minus 19, so that's going to be 16 plus -19. Go 19 minus 16, which is 3. And do you think our answer will be positive or negative? Well, -19 has a bigger absolute value than 16, so I'm hoping you said that would be negative. And then finally here, we've got 43. Remember, change the operation, switch to the opposite, and that is 50. So from what we see for this, if we're subtracting negatives, then the two negative signs in that equal a positive. So when we subtract negatives, we're really adding positives. All right, next is multiplication. So the product of integers with the same signs is always positive. So 4 times 5 would give us 20. -4 times -5 would give us 20. So 6 times 6 will be 36. -3 times -4, we've got 2 negatives, so that will be positive. We're going to get 12. And -11 times -11, well, that's 121. So product of two integers, so when we multiply two integers with the same sign, it's always positive. Product of two integers with different signs, so when we multiply two integers with different signs, is always negative. So once we know that, it's easy. We just know this will be negative. 2 times 3 is really easy. We get 6. Negative 2 out front, well, it's still negative because the 3 is positive. We've got 2 different signs. 2 times 3 is 6. So I think we get the hint that these are all going to be negatives here. And then we just do out our multiplication. 5 times 5 is 25. 20 times 2 is 40. 15 times 1 is 15. And 7 times 12, that one off the top of my head I can't remember, so we'll just multiply it out. And there we have it, 84. So that's multiplication. Same signs, always positive. Different signs, always negative. And then finally, our last operation, we have division. So we call the answer to a division problem the quotient. So the quotient of integers with the same signs is always positive, just like we did with multiplication. Add in that exclamation point again. So same signs is positive. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is 4. Same sign, answer is positive. So negative 12 divided by negative 2 we know will be positive. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Negative 10 divided by negative 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And negative 30 divided by negative 10, same sign, so it will be positive, and that's going to give us 3. And finally here, the quotient of integers with different signs is always negative, same as multiplication. So since the signs are different for all these, we know they will be negative. So 15 divided by 5, negative 15 divided by 5, excuse me, will be negative, and that's 3. 15 divided by negative 5, well, same thing. We've got negative because the signs are different. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So different signs for each of these problems, so we know they will all be negative. 8 divided by negative 1, that will be negative 8 because 8 divided by 1 is 8. 16 divided by 4 is 4, different signs, so it's negative. 100 divided by negative 10, negative 10, since different signs. And negative 22 divided by 2, well, negative because they are different signs. And 22 divided by 2 is 11. So pretty short, easy rules there for operations with integers. So what we're going to do after these notes, there's no paper assignment that we're doing, so check Canvas, and the assignment for 2-1 day 2 here will be a couple of IXL strands. Be sure to check Canvas because I could be wrong, but I believe they are C12 and C21. So make sure you take care of both of those assignments on there, and make sure you submit your scores to me within Canvas once you're done. All right, be sure to email me if you have any questions, and we'll see you on